Hello, and welcome to another special edition of Progtor Who Locked Down. I'm your host, Bob. Hello, just in case you didn't know. And I'm joined this time in lockdown by the wonderful Mark Cockram from the Nerdology Podcast. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, and the lovely, wonderful author and podcaster. He doesn't like it, does he? Does not like compliments. Iain Martin, everyone.
Hello, Ian. Hello, guys. Hello, gentlemen. And hello to all the boys and girls watching at home.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. It's class. I've been looking forward to this after our Spyfall debacle we did a few months back. So, how's lockdown treating you? How's lockdown treating you, Mark? How are you getting on?
Oh, well, it's all fun and games, isn't it? We've got a 6-year-old, so we've been doing the whole homeschooling thing, which can be a bit testing at times, but, we're all getting through it. We're getting there. I've learned an awful lot.
I was going to say, I bet like homeschooling, you actually learn shit because I've not learned anything for a long time, really.
I know my arrays now.
You're arrays?
Ask me anything about arrays, yeah.
Array as in array gun?
Arrays. ARRAYS. Arrays.
What's that mean?
When you put groups of things together to make it easier to count.
Oh, right. Well, math, is that maths and that?
It is maths and that, yeah.
Rubbish at maths. I didn't like maths.
So am I, but...
Well, that's good, though. You're learning. That's good. You're learning.
Have you had to do any work with covalent bonding at all?
No,
but I am working on my semiotic thickness.
What the fuck are you two talking about? I have absolutely no idea. Right, we're just going to put a prerequisite, lads. I'm not very clever, so you could be saying anything. Then. You could be saying anything. How's lockdown going for you, Ian?
Yeah, really good. Can't complain. I know it's a million times worse for everyone else. I'm just watching a bunch of TV for the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 10th time. Watching films, trying to, read a few books. I'm thinking about writing stuff, basically a lot of lying down.
Yeah, it's perfect, isn't it? It's great. It is great. I'll tell you, I've been doing reading. That reading thing, I've been doing quite a bit of it. I've done first Game of Thrones. That was quite a long book.
That was a long book.
I always have like a graphic novel on me, Batman usually. But I tell you what, 1984. I can't believe I've never read it before. George Orwell. Mm-hmm. Bloody hell! It's probably not the best book to be reading in lockdown.
If you're just about to tip over the edge, you don't want to be reading that.
Yeah. Sure. It's considered like 70 years ago, over 70 years ago. Yeah. It's insane, but yeah.
I think your next book should be 100 Years of Solitude.
It's just to really drive me insane. Thanks, Ian. Right, cool. Well, before we get into this, we're going to have a song because that's what our listeners like. Mark, it's your turn to give us a song first. What are you going to pick for us?
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this. Well, equal parts looking forward to it, but kind of it's been the thing that has driven me crazy because I'm so passionate about music and I'm thinking, well, I'll pick that. No, I shouldn't pick that. I'll pick this. So it took me forever, but I've settled on a track called In the Meantime by a band called Space Hog.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for putting some thought into it. Like Craig's puts any old shit on. So it's cool. Well,
how dare you? I love Craig.
I love Craig. His music choice is different. Right, well, cool. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna stick it on right now. I forgot to put my scarf back on again. Thought it was a bit chilly. Right. Cool. Fucking not chilly. It's muggy, innit? Close. Right, cool. Well, thanks for that. Thank you very much for that tune, Mark. What was it again? Sorry.
That was called In the Meantime by Space Hog.
Cool. It was cracker. Right.
Yeah, from Leeds.
from Leeds.
From Leeds, yeah, because you lot are all from Yorkshire and thereabouts, so I thought you might appreciate that. Apart from Sucky, but he doesn't count.
Leeds are bloody Southerners, mate. it's outside. Not proper Yorkshire. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Right, okay. Let's get into this then. Doctor Who, Progtor Who, sorry, locked down. So
easy for you to say, Bob.
I know, yeah. I just lost the power of speech. You do that occasionally. It's quite a good skill. So we're going quite far back in time now. I think it's far back in time, and it's the day before lockdown, and you've got some big decisions to make of what you're going to be taking with you. The first one is you're going to need a companion, a friend, someone to keep you company. Basically, for anyone from the Doctor Who world, doesn't have to be a doctor or companion, any character from the history of Doctor Who. Ian, who would you pick?
Right. So I'm going to need someone who is intelligent and entertaining and resourceful and practical, and I imagine quite good company.
What, Benny?
So,
Benny?
oh,
Benny.
or throw you a googly. I'm going to plump for River Song.
Why is that, Ian?
Well, for all the very sort of sincere and acceptable reasons I just gave you, and that she's very resourceful and practical, and a really strong feminist icon, and she's got really nice hair.
She's a cracker. Mark, who's your non-Who? Sorry, your Who companion you're going to take with you?
Well, I was going to be cheeky and go with comedian because I thought, well, then you can just change comedian to whoever you want to spend time with. But I thought that might be cheating a bit. So I settled on Romana 1 in the end.
Why is that, Mark?
Well, I mean, she's very intelligent.
Yes.
Very resourceful. I think you can have some really good conversations with her during lockdown. And she is rather easy on the eye as well. You've got to admit.
You pair of dirty old men. I love it. Cool. Right. So
I just love the mental image of you settling on Romana 1.
Yeah.
That's got all sorts of connotations, that Ian.
I know. If I tried to settle on her, she'd snap.
Yeah.
You need to be more agile, my friend. Right, cool. So you've got your Who ones, and now you can take a non-Who character from all of time and space, fiction, non-fiction, whatever, any time in history. I'm going to come to you first, Ian. Who would you take with you?
So I am going to take one for the team, and I'm going to take Jacob Rees-Mogg into lockdown with me.
Brilliant. Is that because he's utter evil cunt?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Bob, I wish you wouldn't hold back. I wish you just say it with you.
Oh, he's the worst one, man. There is a subtext.
He is, if he's in lockdown with me, then he can't be, making money out of everyone's suffering. He can't be adding to people's suffering. He can't be himself, basically. He'd just be trapped in here. I'd keep him chained up, possibly to the radiator. I might employ a number of weapons on him, possibly beating him with sticks, cudgels, hockey sticks.
Cuddles and sticks.
Well, I don't want to leave any bruising. And similarly, a gun would just dispatch him far too quickly. I think keep him alive, but keep him suffering.
Cool. I'm fully with you. That he is the worst one. He's the hedge funder one, isn't he? He's the one that tells them all what to do. Pretty much.
He's the person who is sort of single-handedly responsible for everything that's going wrong.
Yeah, and he's making billions. Him and his friends making billions of pounds.
Absolutely.
Horrible people. Cool. That's lovely. I'll probably sneak in and join you. And I've got a knife. So anyway, Mark, who's going to be your non-Who person, please?
Well, I decided I would have Charlie Brooker along with me.
Oh.
Because we have, I think, quite similar views on politics. He's very funny, and he's into video games. So I think we have a lot in common, and he's quite a grumpy old bastard, and that might not be my persona on the podcast, but I am quite grumpy. If you speak to my wife, she's like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we get on really well.
Ian, the man that knows you probably the best. Pulled a strange face then. Cool. Well, you've got your.
There's a fly.
There's a fly in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Well, you've got your friends. Well, I say friends. You've got Jacob Rees-Mogg, so that's that's just some sort of awesome idea. But you need an adversary. You need someone to play games with. So from the world of Doctor Who villainy, who would you take with you, Mark, as your adversary?
Well, I've given this a lot of thought, and I've decided to go with the Ironside Dalek from Victory of the Daleks.
Oh, right, okay.
For a number of reasons. Firstly, I think, bar none, it is the best design of a Dalek ever. So that cool sort of military green with the little covers over the ears to stop the lights from showing up when they're in the middle of the blitz, and the little Union Jack logo is cool. But from a practical standpoint, they do seem very keen to make sure that you are okay for tea.
That is
Would you
the
like a cup of tea? So
the main aim in life, isn't
I'll be
it?
sorted, yeah. Cool
So-
Dalek, and you always have plenty of decent tea on tap.
A brew making Dalek. Lovely.
Mm. Yeah.
Cool. Ian.
So I kind of approached this from perhaps the wrong angle initially, and I thought basically what I'm being asked for is who's my favourite Doctor Who villain, and it would have been the Master, and it would have been the Anthony Ainley Master. But then I thought about the practical experience of actually living with him for, as has now been like 10, 12 weeks. Because I think most people were thoroughly fucked off with him pretty much by the end of Castrovalva. And that's about 3 hours of screen time, if that. So living with him and his constant crap attempts to, like, you know, reprogram the microwave, and it would be unbearable. So
You can always stick him in a garden and just get him to be a scarecrow for a few hours if you like.
I mean, I could do that, but I wouldn't trust him with the sparrows. So I thought, no, forget him. He'll need too much wig maintenance anyway. I want someone erudite. I want someone fun. I want someone effectively really quite harmless, though, because I don't want any peril to come in my direction. So I thought Harrison Chase.
Oh, yes. That's a good one. Someone else has picked him as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So no, that's not a bad thing. It means it's, you know, it's a good choice.
Popular choice.
Yeah. Why? Why is it? Because he's absolutely mental.
He's mental. He'd look after the plants. I mean, some days, and you know, I'll be honest, I rarely leave the bedroom, but I still don't remember to water the plant as often as I should, and I think he'd be all over that.
Yeah. Just that one plant. That one plant.
Yeah. He'd really maximise that one. And you know, I sleep quite a lot, so I wouldn't accidentally walk in on him playing with his green oboe or whatever it was. Yeah, and I just think he'd be quite fun to chat with, and he knows stuff, and he'd be cracking company. And obviously, if I'm sharing with River Song, I don't think he'd be on her radar, so I'd be first in line there. So
Yeah. Well, hang on, you got Reese Mogg though. He's a charmer, isn't he?
she's not
That's
gonna
another
go
thing you can inflict on Reese Mogg, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
Early.
she'd have.
Yeah.
She'd use all sorts on him.
I wasn't thinking of River Song. I was thinking of Harrison Chase.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Confused. We'll leave you with that confused face there, Ian, and come to Mark. Who's your adversary?
What, from outside of Doctor Who?
Yes, please.
I have chosen to go with the entire Tory government.
Wow, there's
a bit of a running theme here.
That's a big task.
It's quite a houseful, but there is a bit of a logic which won't become evident until a little bit later when we get to some of your other categories. But
would you take the cabinet? Because the cabinet are the ones that are pretty much the horrible arsehole bastard.
Yeah, I mean, we could narrow it down to just the worst of the worst, if you like. Yeah.
Which is the cabinet and the prime minister.
Pretty much. I mean, I was going to say the decision makers, but I'm not. I think that's probably giving them a little bit too much credit there.
That's Dominic Cummings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's definitely coming along. Yeah.
Him and Reese Mogg and his friends.
Well, I've got Reese Mogg, so we'll have to do some kind of.
We can do time.
Who'd have thought he'd become so hotly contested? We have to timeshare Jacob Rees-Mogg so that I can inflict horrible brutality on him. You can do whatever you want to do with him.
So, should we wait for your exposition then of the Tory government?
Well,
later in the podcast?
I think when we come to another category, I think it will make a lot of sense.
Excellent. Right, no, cool.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we will wait for that exposition.
Okay, then.
So we have your friends, we have your adversaries, but you're going to need some form of device or gadget. So from the world of Doctor Who, Mark, what device or gadget will you take with you into lockdown?
Wow, this is where hopefully it will pay off.
Yeah.
I am going to go for the Keller machine from The Mind of Evil.
Right.
So all those evil Tory bastards are going to be subjected to the Keller machine, and it will take out all their evilness, and they'll just end up being normal people and not go around inflicting all this shit on everyone else.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. Although you have to do a swap with Rees-Mogg, get him in your house, make sure he does it as well or whatever. I think Alexa's just started talking to me. Why have you done that? Piss off. Bloody computers. Is it a computer? I don't know. Cool. That's a good one. Keller Machine, destroy the Tories. Yeah. I voted for Nigel Farage. I think he's the answer to all of our problems, and he's my hero.
For a minute, I thought you meant you'd actually voted for him. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Paul. Oh yeah, no, I think he's the man to save Britain. Nigel Farage, like.
What I've just done, I've just shat my legs off in fury.
Do you think that might have been a slight bit of sarcasm? Just a little bit here.
I've wandered into a Brexit podcast.
Yeah. The thing is, we've taken back control and we can go fishing now. Right. So, Ian, your device or gadget that you would like to take with you?
Now, from the world of Doctor Who.
Yes, from the world of Doctor Who.
Am I allowed to take the TARDIS?
Is it a device or gadget? Yeah,
so.
Well, it's not real. This, so yeah, you can do what you want.
Right. So my reason being, I want to have the TARDIS. I want to reconfigure the time cone inverter, and blast COVID-19 through the charged vacuum emboyment, thus saving the universe.
Brilliant.
As long as it serves under my guidance.
Cool. That sounds good. So we're saving literally the world right now.
Basically.
Not just from the Tories, but from COVID-19 as well.
Absolutely.
Which is more evil. Cool. What's your yeah, Tories, absolutely. Mark, what's your non-Who device or gadget which you will take with you into lockdown?
Well, I've been fairly selfless up until now with my selections. So I'm going to be a bit selfish on this one, and I'm going to go for a real top-end home cinema setup. So it's going to be a big projector screen, surround sound speakers, the works.
Right.
And that would certainly help to pass a bit of time in the old lockdown.
Yeah,
definitely.
Porn up in massive screen, that full definition speakers.
There is that.
Yeah.
There is that. Cool. I was thinking more sort of movies and old Doctor Who, but whatever floats your boat.
Indeed. That sounds like a good one. Ian.
So I was just looking up. Was it porn? Did you say? I don't know what that word is. Type that into. Good Lord. Yes. Hello.
Hello again. back to the studio. Yes.
What gadget? So, thinking about it in all seriousness, the only gadget I would take with me would be my iPhone, because I can't go. I went down to the kitchen earlier to make a cup of tea, and I couldn't even time that without having to come back upstairs and get my iPhone because it's got the timer. It's got your emails. It's got your diary. It's got a torch. It's got one of those little things for taking stones out of horses' hooves. It's got all your TV. It's got all your music. It's the kind of, it's everything, isn't it? There's a book I read recently called More from Less by a guy called Andrew McAfee. And it's saying that humanity is moving beyond the point where we're consuming all the world's resources. Because 20 years ago, in our rooms, we'd have had a television set, a record player, a calendar, all this stuff, and now we just have, your Apple or Samsung device can do all that. And if everyone just has one of these little things, then in future generations we're going to basically save the world through our enslavement to tiny little expense.
Well, look, it is incredible. I used to be a sales rep at one point in my life. And you used to have the A to Zs, and you're printing off of the AA maps, and you had them all over you, crash your car all the time. You had your CDs or your tapes, like it was literally everything. This little device, because I've gone back full Apple again. I got the new SE, which is lovely, slightly old school as well. I'm very happy with it. But just looking through it, you can tell the weather. You got calendar, like you say, alarm clock timer, map. I've got a guitar tuner on here, podcasts. It's just literally everything, isn't it?
Formula One TV. So I can watch literally any Grand Prix that's ever happened.
Amazing.
I'm having terrible trouble sleeping during this COVID-19 thing, so that would be perfect for me.
Yeah.
Put on a bit of F1, I'll be away.
You don't think the sound of Murray Walker's insistent shrill bellowing in some way cut through your meniscus of sleep? And Mansell's inside Prost! That would wake you up. That would scare the shit out of me.
I love Murray Walker. Here's a story for you. If you like F1, Eddie Jordan?
I do.
Cool. I did a gig for him in Monaco once. We did two. It was one of his friends' birthday parties, and I went on tour with his band. And we played on this exclusive beach party just outside Monaco. And we finished gigging all that, full of like rich people. And then Eddie was sort of friends with the band. They'd played all of his parties and all that before, and this was one of them.
Eddie and the Hot Rods.
He got up and played drums with us as well. Yeah. He was terrible. But at the end of the gig, we were just having a few beers and he came up and he went, "Oh, that's brilliant." He said, "Do you want to go and stay on my yacht? I'm staying in a hotel tonight." We were like, "Go on then." So he gave us the key.
Slumming it.
So yeah, he said to his captain or whatever of the yacht, he said, "These lads are staying on the yacht. Make sure they get all booze and all that." So we set off on a bus. The four of us it was, pissed as fuck. Got off in Monaco, and it was literally like walking through, all the things you see on the F1 or like the casino, all the cars and all that. We were just like four lads from York just fucking going, "Bloody hell, seen that? What? Bloody hell!" and all that. And then we get down to his yacht, and the people on his yacht, like it's the staff, whatever, they were so lovely, and so we're just getting smashed on this yacht in whatever you call that harbour bit, and his yacht was like a 30 million quid yacht, but it looked like a dinghy compared to a lot of them. Honestly, it's absolutely atrociously full of rich people. I mean, it was an experience. I wouldn't go there all day, but it was like an experience, shall we say. It was mental, that. Cool. Awesome. It was cool. Yeah, it was a good experience, man. Rich people are strange, though. I tell you what. Right, cool. Is it, Mark, is it your turn for your non-Who gadget? Have we done you?
We haven't, I've done mine.
What was yours again?
Mine was my home cinema, wasn't it?
Home cinema, yeah. Your iPhone, lovely. Right. Yeah. Sorry, I digressed and I lost myself.
Oh, no, that's good. I enjoyed hearing about it.
So, you've got to sit somewhere nice, haven't you? So, decoration, TARDIS.
Yeah.
So, from all of the TARDISes throughout of Doctor Who, which interior would you pick in?
I would go... It's tricky because you think about it and you want to say something artistic or you want to say something a bit, but you're always going to pick, I think, the one that you were born into. And for me, that's going to be the classic Peter Davison, Colin Baker, plain white with the post Five Doctors new console.
Nice.
That's
I mean, that was awesome. The new console when it came out. I mean, that was like, wow. He had like loads of stuff on it.
Had a BBC Micro on it and everything.
Yeah, BBC Micro with the mapping, the Five Doctors and all that. Oh, yeah. Definitely. That's it.
That's the one for me.
I think that's like my TARDIS as well, I think, here. Mark, your TARDIS interior.
Yeah, I was tempted to go with Capaldi's TARDIS just because it's so beautiful, and I've been lucky enough to walk onto the set and have a look around. It is amazing. But I've been watching a lot of old Who recently, and I've got a lot of affection for Hartnell's console.
It's cool. Yeah.
It's really nice. Just the simplicity of it, the design. You've got the
random shit they bring in. So like the time monitor and the food machine, and just they have loads of random shit. It's brilliant.
They got those funky couches that come down from the wall as well, so you can chill out on one of those. It's great. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
No, I like it a lot.
I dig that.
Classic.
I dig that. So non-Who decor. Lawrence Welland-Bowen. Sorry, Ian. Can you tell us your interior of another room?
I'm probably going to go with something that I pretty much actually did used to have, but you're aware of the television franchise Twin Peaks?
I'm aware of it. I'm aware of its presence.
Yeah.
And there is that kind of classic blend of red drapes with the black and white chevron floor tiles. I'd have a room decked out much like that. Now, I did kind of do that at one point a couple of years ago, but to be fair, I wasn't in a very good place. It makes me feel like I might on some level be interesting. So I would have... Obviously, it's a gateway to internal evil. So, where's the harm?
Exactly. Awesome. I need to watch Twin Peaks. I've never really seen it. Yeah, no, I do. We've had a lot of Twin Peaks references on this lockdown so far, from people with good taste as well. Mark.
Yes.
Your decor.
Well, I mean, it's just continuing the theme, really. If you're going to have a home cinema setup, it's no good just having the gear. You need the
idea.
room to really do it justice.
Yeah.
So you want those really plush leather couches. You want the lighting to be just right. Aircon, obviously, all mod cons. Yeah, so just imagine. I used to work for a couple of companies selling electronic stuff, Sony stuff, and then latterly Panasonic stuff. And you'd see some of these amazing installations they do in people's houses who've just got money to burn, and it's incredible. So I'd love something like that, just really understated, stylish, but just super comfortable and just very luxurious.
Proper lad pad.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Sounds awesome. That's some great choices there, gentlemen. We're gonna have a little break. It's time for another song. Ian, I'm coming to you. What song are you gonna pick?
Right. Well, I would like the song "Exile Rag" by my old friend Kyle Craft. I say my old friend. I met him once at one of his gigs. So he's my friend in that I paid £10 to go and see him.
Cool.
He's based in Seattle. He's wonderful. He's on to his fourth album's coming out this year, and he's just my absolute favourite.
Lovely. Well, let's put her on. Cool. Right. Hang on. I'm just gonna pour a bit more wine actually. While we're having a little break. He's all right.
For me to go down to the fridge and get another beer.
Go for it. Yeah. We know.
I'll be 48 seconds.
That's fine.
Yeah, I planned ahead. I've finished my tea, and now I'm on to me lager chaser. So I've got my
tea and lager chaser.
Vera Moretti here.
Well, it's cool. We're keeping the viewers entertained. At the moment, so that's fine while he pops for a beer.
Yeah,
this is cool. I'm really enjoying the fact I've suddenly gone from 10 meg to 110 meg broadband. It's like it's a whole new world.
A whole new world.
It really is. I couldn't believe it before. Like I was like, this is not quite right. But there we go. Here it is. The future. I really like that TARDIS interior, by the way, that Ian's got.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a stunning.
They've really got some decent use out of that TARDIS prop, haven't they? The console.
It's beautiful though. I think it looks stunning. That's the TARDIS I'd have. Now I'd have gone for that sort of thing because Jodie's is not good.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's just
really done her no favors at all, have they? Really?
Upsetting things about the whole show now is that awful
TARDIS
console room.
Did you? Because we didn't speak much after our podcast we done Spyfall. Did you enjoy the rest of the series?
I
loved it. I'll be honest.
I really enjoyed Orphan 55.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I enjoyed Revenge of the... No, fuck. What was it called? The Jadoon one. That one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Fugitive.
Thank you. And after that, it just sort of tailed off slightly. And by the end of it, I wasn't really feeling it anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame. It was a lot better than last season, though. The season before.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thoroughly loved it, and it was made a difference not doing a podcast as well. Just watching it literally once on a Sunday live, and that was it. Didn't have to think about it. Just watched Doctor Who. It was cool. Right, let's get back into it then. So, Ian, what was that song again, please?
That was Exile Rag by Kyle Craft.
Lovely. That's a cracker. That cracker. Awesome. Well, let's get back into the lockdown. Mark, I'll come to you first.
Yeah.
So we've got your friend, you've got your anniversary, you've got your gadget, you've got your interior, your decor. Now we need something to wear. So out of all of Doctor Who, what costume would you pick? Doesn't have to be a doctor, any costume in Doctor Who ever. What would you pick?
I think you're going to appreciate this one, Bob. I have chosen a costume from one of the greatest Doctor Who stories of all time. I am talking about the Anethan costumes from the Horns of Nymon.
What, the big platform heel things?
No, not the monsters. Not the monsters, Bob. The Anethans, who are the guys who are going to be sacrificed to the Nymon.
Oh, I can't remember.
So they turn up in these really sort of thick yellow outfits that look a lot like blackout curtains.
I think I remember.
So I'm keeping it with the theme of the home cinema. Because I'm worried, obviously, light might creep into that room and that will affect my enjoyment of whatever I'm watching on that screen.
Aye.
So, it looks bloody amazing. I'd look great in anything just because, I'm so skinny and I could just carry anything off.
Rocket, course,
So it's practical because I can wear it. I mean, let's be honest, the last couple of months, unless we've got company coming around, I'm wandering around in a t-shirt and my pants. So this is, it's quite a cool outfit. It's a lovely visual thing for your listeners to think about.
You're
but
welcome,
also,
listeners.
it doubles up as a blackout blind. So if I'm watching my film and a bit of light does happen to creep in, I can hang it over the window and it will stop any light creeping through.
I'm sort of remembering now, but I'll be honest, the Hans and Nyman is one of my most watched Doctor Who's of all time. But it's a fine and unique
rectify
choice.
That, Bob. If you do that on Progtor Who, I would love to come on and talk about it.
Do the Hans and Nyman on. Well, yeah, I'll have a week off, then you can come and do it then. Right, cool. I need to go back and watch it because I just remember the guy. It's a theatre performance, shall we say? Very
Lord Nyman.
In fact, I might need to go watch it just for shits and giggles, to be honest.
It's so much fun.
Ian, what are you wearing?
Well, so I think I think Mark's kind of hit the nail on the head there. We're all kind of slobbing around. We're not making much of an effort at the moment. You want something that's going to be fairly cool because at the moment it's quite hot outside.
It's muggy, like it's close.
You want something relaxing. You want something understated, and you know. So I thought Eric Roberts' master costume. I always dress for the occasion. I look great in that, and I could prance around my tiny house, hitting Jacob Rees-Mogg, and with a song would be like, "Oh, look at him with the collar.
Oh, look at him." Yeah, it's exactly what would happen.
This sounds like a specialist movie.
Yeah,
I think you could earn a fortune broadcasting this on the internet.
Yeah,
I did ask Ian Levine to animate it, but he told me to piss off.
Ian Levine was not welcoming or friendly. How dare you? Right, cool. Mark, what's your non-Who costume? Or clothing?
Okay, well, this is kind of linked in with the last one because Horns of Nymon is from season 17, one of the best seasons of Doctor Who.
You're mental.
I'll fight anyone who tells me. And the script editor for that series was the amazing Douglas Adams.
Not going to argue with that, though.
Yeah. So I am going to go for Arthur Dent's dressing gown and towel.
Oh,
because that's you can slob around in it, and you're always going to be ready for anything if you've got a dressing gown and a towel. So that's going to be my
that is a fine
my go-to costume.
Fine choice. Ian, what are you wearing?
I think, and again, your initial urge is to think of something silly, but then you think, no, you want to be effortlessly cool and dignified and stylish in a sort of timeless, classic look. So, cast your minds back to the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, 1992. The Guns N' Roses section.
Wondering where this is going.
They did Knocking on Heaven's Door and Paradise City, I think. Axel's got a leather jacket, which is a Union Jack.
I know exactly what you're saying, and his hot
and little white cycling shorts.
Oh, Christ alive.
Now, I'm not saying I could do it now. I'd have to have a couple of months to lose a bit of weight. That, I think, is the signature look that any red-blooded male should be aspiring to.
Oh, my God.
Not just this year, but ever.
River Song will be quimmering. Absolutely quimmering.
Did you say quimmering?
Yeah, and you in your tighty whities with your bandana and your Union Jack leather on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a classic, iconic look. I mean, to be fair, like at the time, you thought Axel looked cool, but he doesn't.
No, I still think.
Really, he looked like a dib.
Slash always looked cool.
Sorry, I know he's your.
I sense some dissent in the room.
But Slash always looked cool because he just wore a top hat, jeans, and a t-shirt.
Exactly,
I can't breathe.
Is he getting angry? Chinese democracy shite. There you go.
Shut up. Which song, apart from Riyadh and the Bedouins, which is shite, which song on Chinese democracy is shite?
I've only listened to it once. And I'm a Guns N' Roses fan. Look, I actually have an Appetite for Destruction tattoo because that was the album, the proper album.
Well,
best rock album.
Illusion 2.
Yeah, so you go.
See, I always found with Guns N' Roses that I'd hear like one of the singles. I think, oh, that's bloody brilliant, that is. So I'll go out and get the album. I'm like, oh,
Appetite for me is my favourite rock album of all time. I think it's amazing. Use Your Illusions, though. This is a story for you. I don't know if you know it, but it's in the Slash autobiography. So it's basically a 5-piece rock band, isn't it? Appetite. It's a full-on, awesome, hard rock album. And that's what Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 were, until Axel used to fucking go in the studio secret and put strings and pianos and all sorts of shit on it. And Slash didn't know he was doing it. So Slash thinks it's going to be like another awesome rock album. And he goes back in and it's all these fucking pianos and strings. He's like, what the fuck have you done? So he wasn't happy, Slash, about the whole...
Those are Ian's 2 favourite albums.
Yeah. But that's cool. They're not shit. They're not shit at all. They're very good.
No, they're not. They're not.
No, they're not shit. They're not. Right, cool. We've done that one, haven't we? Done that one completely. When we start chatting, I lose where I am. So that's cool.
I thought I was on Newsnight when we started. I was ready to talk about the budget deficit.
Oh, it soon descends. Right. So you need a bit of more entertainment. So the Doctor Who story can be a book, audio, TV, whatever. Any story from the world of Doctor Who. Ian, what will you take with you? He's looking at his shelves.
I am, because I've got all of the new adventures just behind me. And I'd gone with a TV, but as soon as you said it could be a book, I'm thinking maybe I'm actually going to go with a Virgin New Adventure.
Yes.
And maybe I'm going to go with Andrew Cartmell's Warlock.
Great.
Now, the reason for that is it was published in January 95, and it was set on the outskirts of Canterbury. And in January 95, I'd been in Canterbury for about 3 months because I went there for uni. So it was a Doctor Who book telling me about the place I'd just moved to. It was also a brilliant page-turning thriller. It was properly adult in a way that most of the series wanted to be. The Doctor's in it for about, I think, 5 pages altogether. It's very heavily reliant on Benny Summerfield and a really nice version of Benny. So I think that was probably my favourite new adventure, ergo my favourite Doctor Who story in any medium ever.
That's a good and fine choice. Talking new adventures, I don't know if I've told you this tale before, but it's cool. In 1992, I went to a convention, met Sylvester McCoy, John Pertwee, Fraser Hines, John Levine, all these people. Wow, amazing. There was a young writer there called Mark Gatiss, and I got my book signed by him. I can't remember which one it was now. The one of the, Nightshade. He signed that for me, and I didn't give a fuck. Like, I was like, yeah, whatever. Don't know who you are. Cheers, mate. It's just, and now he's one of the biggest writers and actors of all time, and absolutely brilliant. But I have met him. I might not have cared at the time, but I was 12 or something. But yeah, I've got a signed book by him, and it's signed by my Sylvester McCoy as well. Mark.
Hello.
Your Doctor Who story from any format, any medium.
Now, I've got a technical question here. I've got a story which I really love, but quite a lot of it is missing.
That's fine. You can do what you want, yeah. It's not real.
So, do I get it back in its entirety and I just get to watch the whole thing?
You do.
XR, right, brilliant. Well, I'm in then. It's the Daleks Master Plan.
Oh, yeah. Full entirety, mate. You get it back in.
Yeah. You
only
get
you, though. Only you.
Thanks.
As well. So, yeah.
Fine.
You can do what that twat does that finds the stuff and keeps it to himself. What's he called? That fella.
Can't think what twat you're on about.
You know what I mean? That guy that goes on about.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to mention the name because what's the point anymore?
Anyway.
So Master Plan.
You lucky man.
At his best.
You lucky man.
Pete Purvis. G. Marsh in a catsuit. Nicholas Courtney's first appearance in the programme.
I thought you were going to say Nicholas Courtney in a catsuit.
Well, there is that as well.
That's the name of my next album, Ian. Bob Fleming, Nicholas Courtney in a catsuit. Awesome. No, that's
just an epic, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Awesome choice. And only you are going to see it as well.
Can I just butt in? There is a slight flaw in this plan in that.
Oh God. Trust you to pour technically,
you would be sharing the Daleks Master Plan, possibly the biggest classic lost
with the Tory government.
With the Tory government.
Good point.
They'd all be watching it. They'd be knocking around. So you're sharing this wonderful story.
Yeah, but they're nice by now because I've used the Kellerman.
Yeah, he's Kellerman.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then.
through,
All
Ian.
right, I stand corrected.
All right, good.
It's like you thought it through.
I refer the house to the answer I gave some minutes ago.
Amazing. Right, your non-Who story, Ian.
So I think it's going to be a novel called Dark Man's by Nicola Barker. It was published in 2006. It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. It should have won the Booker Prize, and I'm still cross about this to this day. I've got a lovely signed copy because for a brief period I worked for the publisher who published it, and they were able to get her to sign a copy of it for me sometime after the fact. It's set in Ashford. It's a story about a really ordinary but really random group of people who know each other, and one by one they become possessed by the ghost of a 13th century jester. And
Sounds a bit like Rent-A-Ghost.
Ensues. It's like a sort of it's like a grown-up, scary, ambitious Rent-A-Ghost set in Ashford, if you can imagine that.
Sounds fucking awesome.
It is. It's certainly the most ambitious book I've ever read.
Is it a long book?
It is. It's about 650 odd pages.
Easy. I've just done Game of Thrones first one. That was 800.
There you go. It's very much like that.
Orthodox back that. So it's worth a go then. You recommend?
Gander. I would absolutely recommend that.
Awesome. I always like a good book. A book thing. I've lost the word. What's the word?
A book thing. Yeah, a book thing.
I always like a
we
book
used to
thing.
sell them, and I worked in Waterstone. People come in. Can I buy a book thing? They'd say. We do.
Yeah. And then they'd get really angry when I didn't know what they're talking about.
Yellow
a book thing.
by a man.
Yeah, dickhead. Mark, which story are you going to take with you from Non-Who?
Right, I am going to go for a TV series. It is called I, Claudius.
Ooh, right.
And it's from the 1970s. The cast is fucking unbelievable. Derek Jacobi in his prime. Yeah. And there's Patrick Stewart with hair.
What?
John Hurt. Yeah. John Hurt. Brian Blessed.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah. It's like a who's who of all the best actors who were around at the time. And it's all about the sort of machinations of the emperors of Rome. And there's a lot of bloody violence. There's a lot of sex. It's incredibly funny. The books it's based on are relatively dry because they're sort of written as almost by a historian who turned them into novels. But
bloody
I think the BBC.
Bloody
I know.
hell.
So
History that's already happened, mate.
Yeah, this makes Game of Thrones look like nothing, and it's based on real events as well. So it is brilliant. It's got a really bizarre theme tune, which you need to check out on YouTube. Cool. But it's amazing. It's I can't remember how many episodes it is now, but if you get it, you will not be disappointed. It is a brilliant series.
Awesome, brilliant. Well, this is my favourite question of them all. Now, I'll let you into a little secret. When I started doing these, I did the first one with Toby Haydock and Joe Lidster. And it was just a case of, I just randomly asked them to do a podcast, and they both said yes. Now, I was like, oh, shit. Because I've done a podcast.
I've got to think up some questions.
Well, it's not like, I can't just do your normal, boring questions. And I literally made it up pretty much on the spot of what can I do that doesn't sound like anything else and whatever. And luckily, Toby being a stand-up comedian is very good at thinking on his feet, and Joe both were great. So, my final question was going to be, you're going to die. Which death scene in Doctor Who would you choose? But I didn't. But the question before is the one I'm going to ask you now, and it's a lot nicer to leave the listeners on, and it's a nice vibe. So, from the world of Doctor Who, what's your favourite memory? And just to briefly explain, I met Sylvester McCoy, John Pertwee. If I hadn't have done Doctor Who, I would never have done that. I met some wonderful people, yourselves included, through doing a Doctor Who podcast. So Doctor Who, so a favourite memory associated with being a Doctor Who fan. Ian.
Oh wow. I think there was a kind of a special moment it would have been the sort of high summer of 2005. Doctor Who had come back for about, I don't know, it's episode 10, 11 maybe. It's come back quite unexpectedly. Our little crappy, embarrassing program from way back when has come back and become the biggest thing in the universe. And I was at a pub quiz. Now, I'll have to explain for people. A pub is where people used to be able to go and hang out with other people and have beer, or in some cases wine if they were, different. We have a pub quiz, and there was a prize for best team name. And I just remember there was one guy sitting on his own in the corner. I'm not judging him because he probably did better than my team. But the team name that he picked about 2 weeks before the end of the first series of Doctor Who, he was Bad Wolf. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, our little show has now entered the zeitgeist to that extent that he's calling himself that. And probably most people in this room know what he's getting at. And that's one of those moments where the hairs on your arms just stand up and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Showing up. It was great being able to show off to these people that suddenly become Doctor Who fans. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. Oh, which do you like? And then he'd explain that this show had been going since 1963. Oh my God, did it? I did this with my nephew, and he grew out of it when he was 10. Apparently, so I was like, brilliant. I'm 40.
Here as well.
Mark, your favourite memory associated to Doctor Who?
Yeah, there's been so many things along the years. I think you mentioned, the people you meet through podcasting. It's just, you meet some really lovely people. Yeah. And you, Bob.
No, I am a cunt.
I love
sorry.
you, Bob, really. No, that's true. I'll give you that. And way back in, what was it? Would have been around 2004, 2005. I discovered forums, which were a big thing back in the day. And I helped out on a forum as a moderator, but this was a really nice forum where people weren't absolute arseholes to each other. So but it seems to have gone that way now. So that's but you made some really cool friendships through that. And I think podcasting was like the natural progression on from that in terms of interacting with the fandom, which is one of the things I love about podcasting. I once gave a lift to Rob Shearman.
That's cool.
We're at Exeter Uni, and he was there they were doing they have a Doctor Who society, so he was doing a Q&A there, and our mutual friend J.R. Southall decided to volunteer me to give him a lift to the train station. So amazing. I was going that way anyway, so I drove him there, which was kind of cool. So he was a really nice guy. But I think if I had to pick one moment that sort of crystallise it, for me, it's slightly along the lines of what Iain was saying, is back in 2013 when we had the 50th, and there was just so much love for the programme, and Day of the Doctor came out, and I mean, maybe it's just a circle of people I get on with, but everyone loved it, and it was just amazing. And you had things like all the stuff that was going on in the periphery, so you had all these incredible conventions they did at Excel, and all these people coming through who hadn't been seen for years and years, appearing and chatting about their experience of being on Doctor Who. And it was just, that whole year for me was just brilliant and made it worthwhile.
It was magic, wasn't it? Absolutely magic.
You're both making me really jealous because I missed all that.
Why?
I spent, so from New Year's Day 2010 to late January 2016, I was living in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah.
So I flew out there on New Year's Day, and I didn't get to see David Tennant's final episode for about 5 or 6 months. And I was, I had about, I don't know, 10 friends in Dubai who were mostly, Irish or American, or there was a couple of Brits, but they weren't Doctor Who people. So it was very much me on my own, enjoying it through late night, watching iPlayer with a VPN, so it spends most of its time buffering, and It takes you, 4 hours to watch a 50-minute episode.
What were you doing? What were you doing out in the Middle East, if I may ask?
Oh well, I was working for the first 3 years. I was working for the Virgin Megastores. I was the books buyer for all their stores in Dubai,
Right.
Bahrain, Cairo.
Cairo's mental.
I know. I've
It's
been there.
absolutely mental.
I often say that you take any cab driver from the ring road around Cairo, he would destroy any Formula One driver without
absolutely.
even looking up from his phone. Those people are crazy.
Amazing.
But I spent 3 years as a book buyer, and then I switched to publishing, and I was the kind of sales manager for a large publisher, and I just have to go around all the bookstores in that part of the world and try and convince them that they really needed our books.
Sounds pretty fucking awesome, to be fair.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
But, I'd because that's when I started listening to podcasts, because I was feeling like really alone at this landmark kind of 50th anniversary. So I started listening to all these podcasts, which is where I discovered Blue Box and Mark and everyone, because I was trying to kind of build my own emotional fan community, because I was 2,000 miles away from any actual other fans. And I tried so hard to get people in the Middle East into Doctor Who. When I was a book buyer and the 50th was happening, I was like, right, okay, this is being televised all around the world, even in the Middle East. There is no excuse for people to say no one's ever heard of it. I'm going to stock the Engines of War novel. I'm going to stock all the Matt Smith books. No one was interested.
Amazing. At least you tried, though, Ian.
I did my best.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. In fact, talking of forums, here's a story for you. Now, don't judge me. So, my old band, The Plug, that I was in with John, who does Progtor Who and all that as well, in Take Your Seats. He did the website for our band, The Plug. And this was like back in, I don't know, like, a while ago. So, forums were very new. And we were like, oh, cool, well, we'll put this forum on our website. And we got like, a little bit of whatever. And I came up with a great idea, being a fucking stupid little cunt, that I know I'll get fans to our website. I went on Coldplay's forum, because obviously they had, just millions of people on their forum, and went, Chris Mine's a cunt, I hope he dies. Check out my band, theplug.co.uk. Right? Think, it was like, one of them, Anyway, so I did that, and we did get a lot of hits. John rang me. He was like, "What the fuck have you done? You've destroyed our website." And I was like, "Shit, I didn't mean it." So we had to bring down our website because we were getting terrorized by Coldplay fans.
What is it just me, Bob? Is it just me, or do a lot of the stories that involve you being in the plug revolve around John having to sort shit out that you've caused?
Yeah. Oh no, John he's literally. He's the best. He's one of my best mates for like 20 years. Bless him. I don't know why the fuck he is like, but yeah, I think it keeps him entertained in some way. The way I put us is like, he's like Stephen Fry, and I'm like a really shitty knobhead version of Alan Davis on QI, and he's teaching me the way to be or whatever.
What I like is the idea of you being chased around the world by a horde of really outraged Coldplay fans who are going to, tickle you to death with their press.
I do like Coldplay. I like, like Chris Martin and all that. I just thought, we're going to get loads of people on our website. We did, but they didn't like us. Bob. So that was stupid. Anyway, before like what people knew what they were doing, we were marketing and all that, didn't they? I just want to know your favourite memory, non-Who related. Mark, if I could come to you first, please.
Okay, so a couple of things that I need to qualify. Obviously, marrying my beautiful wife Amy and the birth of our son, they are way above anything else. Yeah. So that's a given.
Yeah. Boring, aren't they? So give us a good one.
Well, yeah, your average person listening to this isn't going to know my son or my wife, so I'm going to have to come out with something that might be vaguely interesting. I adore music. I love music. It's always been a massive part of my life. I've always collected CDs and stuff. I've got a massive collection of music. And I met my wife through going to a music store. I ended up working at that music store after she left. And I kind of, have you seen that film High Fidelity?
I want to say yes, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
I've seen it about 20 times.
Yeah, it's about a record store, and one of the characters is quite an early appearance for Jack Black, and he's a really arrogant, horrible piece of shit who just judges people for their music. So they come in, it's like a tiny little record store, and they come in and they say, "Oh, yeah, have you got I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder?" And he'll just say, "Why would you want to buy that for someone? Do you hate them?"
Like going in Game.
Yeah.
Places like that, they're nerd shops, and you get absolutely.
I obviously thought, oh yeah, well I'm Jack Black, but I was probably more like a character in it called Dick, who was a bit quiet and just fantasized about killing people with a TV and stuff like that. But one of my enduring memories of working at the record store, you could play whatever music you liked, which was brilliant. It was a record store called MVC, which is no longer a thing because most record stores have gone. Yeah. And they had a very strict no swearing policy.
In a fucking music shop.
In a music shop, yeah. So it had to be, radio friendly. Now I used to go to a lot of gigs when I was younger, and I had great memories of going to Madness's first gig in absolutely ages at Finsbury Park. It's like the first time they'd done like a reunion, and they had loads of bands there. They had the Selector, and they had Morrissey, who got bottled off by a load of skinheads, which is quite funny.
Because he's a cunt.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, absolute knobhead. Yeah. And I actually got to see Ian Dury and the Blockheads, and they were amazing. Really, really good. So I thought to myself one day, I haven't listened to Ian Dury for ages. I went through the racks and I thought, oh, this album's good. I'm sure, just looking through the songs I recognised, this is going to be brilliant. I'll put it on. Stuck it on. Brilliant. Some great tunes. Yeah, really funky, great groove to it. Unknown to me, there's a track. So if you get a bit of swearing, occasionally, you can get away with it. It's kind of mixed in with the music, so people might not hear it. There's a track on the album. The album is New Boots and Panties by Ian Dury and the Blockheads. And it starts with him shouting at the top of his voice with nothing else going on behind it. Arseholes, bastards, fucking cunts and pricks. Now, luckily, I was next to the CD player at the time, so I just turned the volume right down, and there was like an audible intake of breath from all the other people working in the store. And I kind of looked around, yeah, sorry about that. Some old dear coming to buy a Valdunican CD or something at the counter.
Daniel O'Donnell, it will have been.
Yeah, now luckily my manager wasn't in at the time, but my assistant manager thought it was fucking hilarious.
Amazing.
Never let me forget about that. But I thought that was, a fun moment. It's one of the lowest paid jobs I've ever done, but one of the most fun jobs I've ever done.
Can I share my MVC anecdote?
Oh yeah,
I don't know when you worked for them, but I, for example, I was working with them on September the 12th, 2001.
Oh.
And obviously, the previous day there'd been an incident.
Yeah.
Involving some terror. The world was in shock, and we had an email. I think it was email. It might have been carrier pigeon or a telegram or something, but I want to say it was an email from head office saying, "Today, people are scared. People are frightened. They're in shock. We can't play any music in our stores that's going to upset anyone or stress them out. We don't want any swearing, anything particularly fast or aggressive, no rock." Yeah. So here's a list of, 3 or 4 prescribed albums that we think won't cause any offence and will be really, really suitable choices. Number 1, the best of Elton John. I rung up head office and I said, when we're talking about the best of Elton John, with tracks like Benny and the Jets or Passengers, Rocket Man, are these the kind of songs we want to be playing?
Yeah, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
Yeah, I mean, we had a manager who was basically spent his whole time doing that, so he's on the volume because I once did play Use Your Illusion 2 in there, and I popped out for a cigarette and forgot about Get in the Ring, which is quite sweary.
Get in the Ring's class.
Oh, I know. But it can get you into quite a lot of hot bother. Yeah, I think as long as someone's got their finger on the rocker, they can
get you on the rocker. Another album name right there. Right, I'm going to share. In fact, I'm going to do my own one of them. So I work in a music shop, guitar shop, and that. I did before I was kicked off. And we used to set our playlist going on a morning, just whatever, and you'd link into something else. And it was half term, and this family would come in, and I was just serving him or whatever, and I was sort of in the world of my own. And anyway, Rage came on, Killing the Name Off. Nice. Fuck you won't do it to me, which is quite repetitive as well. And so there's like 3 little kids and the parents in front of me, all quite, nice people. And I'm just there, and it's so weird. So like it comes on, I don't register it comes on because working in a music shop, you blank out because loads of people can't play guitar and drums and they play it really loud and it's fucking, you have to blank it out, otherwise you go mental. So I was blanking out doing my bits and that, and the face has gone from happy to sort of like puzzled look. And I started looking puzzled, like, what's wrong with him? It's just like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you. And I'm just looking these people in the eye. They're all like looking, I can't read them. I was like, what's going on? Because I didn't register that this was going on. And then suddenly I was like, on the phone, like knocking it all off or whatever. Oh my God. Yeah, I felt really bad because I just didn't. It literally went to the end of the song as well with me looking him in the eyes, looking confused, them looking horrified. I was like, what? I don't understand. Cool. Ian, your favourite non-Who memory?
So it's one of the all-time great moments where you get your arse handed to you in a conversation. It's the so part of working in international book sales means you have to go to a couple of these book fairs every year. There's London Book Fair, there's Frankfurt Book Fair, and you spend 3 days sitting in your little stand, meeting with all your customers from around the world and selling them all the books that are coming out for the next 6 months. And then the Saturday when it's finished, someone from the team has to stay behind and put all the, you've had books on the shelves behind you as, a talking point or a prop or whatever. Someone has to stay behind and just box them up. And this particular year, 2016, I've drawn the short straw and I'm in there on the Saturday morning. There's no one else in there. There's like one other loser from every other publisher and about 5 really bored-looking German facilities managers who are just standing out smoking. That's basically it. And I've just met a friend of mine from a different publisher, Macmillan, who published a book called The Secret History of Twin Peaks, which came out about a year before the TV show came back. And it was to kind of remind people about the show and get everyone excited again. She lent me a copy of it so I could have an early read. And I put it on the table behind me while I was packing up all these books. And I'm, you know that thing with the gaffer tape where it makes a noise like an arthritic donkey. So I'm frantically trying to close all these boxes and get all my stuff done so I can
see what's going to happen here. Yeah.
And I just hear this little voice behind me when I'm going with the tape thing, just going, oh, that's the sound of freedom right there. And I turn around and there's this little in the distance person and she said, I'm not don't worry, because there are a few cosplaying members of the public milling around, but she said, oh, it's all right, I work in publishing, I'm not going to bug you. And I said, oh, come and chat, I'm bored. And we got talking and she said, do you have any of these books any good? And I was, it was like a day off. I didn't really have my work hat on. I was honest. I went, not really. And then she noticed the Twin Peaks book and she said, oh, what about that? And I said, well, you can't have that. That's been lent to me. That's not one of our books. It's because I'm a massive Twin Peaks fan. She said, well, so am I. And I said, I've been waiting for the new series for about 25 years. And she said, well, so have I. And I said, well, I remember watching it when it was broadcast in 1990. And she went, well, so do I. And I said, oh, well, I really like it more than you. I'm the winner of this argument. and she just went, I live there.
Where? In Twin Peaks?
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone frozen, hasn't he? It's all right.
Oh,
I thought he was caught in thought there for a minute.
That's all right.
I know. It froze up. Where did it freeze up? Where was I?
It's all right. There. She said I live there. What? She lived in Twin...
I live there.
What, in Twin Peaks?
In Twin Peaks. Or to be more accurate, she lived in the area around Tacoma and Seattle where they filmed a lot of the exteriors. So a lot of the diner, the waterfall, the hotel, all that kind of stuff. She lived there. So I made sure to invite myself over for a visit at the next opportunity. But that's my favourite memory.
That's lovely. I need to watch this Twin. Everyone goes mental for Twin Peaks.
You do need to watch it.
I need to watch it. Well, thank you very much, gents. It's been awesome. It's been awesome with your lockdown demands. Before we go, I want you to advertise your wares. Mark, what do you do? Where can we find you? What's your shtick and thing?
I have a podcast. It's called Nerdology UK, and it's on all the usual places: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. And we do pop culture. And we've had Iain on quite a few times. We've had you on. Hello. So yeah, we cover lots of different stuff: Doctor Who, movies, books, all sorts of, you name it, we do it. And I find it quite fun. Some people listen to it, so yeah. So and we're on all the the Twitters and Facebooks and stuff.
It's Nerdology, yeah.
Yeah.
Nerdology UK, isn't it?
Mm.
It's great, and it's always a pleasure to be asked on and hang out with you, and you when you were on it, Iain. And when I dawned who you were, the A to Z man, I was like, oh wow, this is going to be controversial and fun.
Yes, but I didn't do my impression of Sylvester McCoy.
That was terrible. Lovely. Yeah. Can you advertise your wares? Obviously not impressions.
Yes. So I am currently at work on a third series of the A to Z of Doctor Who. I've got 6 more letters of the alphabet, and that should be dropping at some point later this year.
Where can we find that?
That is on the Doctor Who show feed. Yep. So on all your whatever. It's been so long since I've had a podcast of my own. I've forgotten how you say these things. Well, it's wherever you find stuff on the thing. I wrote the Winter Hill books, which are available on Amazon if you want a bit of science fiction, and you've got a Kindle or an iPad, or you can accept any form of ebook. Then go and buy Winter Hill on Amazon. And I'm working on a new book, which hopefully maybe will be along any year now.
Cool, any year now. I like that. That's great.
Never pin yourself down.
Cool. Well, everyone, check out that pair of great guys. Definitely worth getting on board. And before we go, we're all in lockdown. People need recommendations. So, Iain, anything, book, TV, whatever, just something for people to watch, read, listen to. A recommendation from you, please.
Well, I recently subscribed to the Curzon Home Cinema thing, because I did a film degree about 20 years ago, and then my kind of life went more in the direction of books, and I stopped watching challenging films, and I just started watching superhero films, and kind of that medium I'd kind of dropped out. So I wanted to get back into watching slightly more interesting films, and I watched one recently called Holy Motors, which was made in 2012 by a French director called Léos Carax. And I'm not really going to give any kind of you can't really talk about the film without spoiling it, so I'm not going to say too much. But it's by far and away, and without a shadow of a doubt, the most mind-blowingly brilliant, stunning, and enjoyable film I've ever seen in my life. It's called Holy Motors. Go for
Holy Motors. Right, cool. Awesome. Mark, a recommendation from you.
Yes, well, I knew I'd have to try and keep up with Ian because he's very intellectual and he's always into his books and stuff. Now, my attention span is fucking appalling. I struggle these days. I used to read a lot, but I don't really. But audiobooks, I love audiobooks. So I've got an Audible account, so I get my credit every month. I've picked out 3 that I've really enjoyed over the time I've had Audible. So the first one is a book called The Help by Catherine Stockett, which has since been turned into a film, got lots of Oscars and stuff, which is about black women who are effectively servants for white people in the Deep South before we had racial equality and all that kind of stuff. It's equal parts upsetting, hilarious, dramatic, but it's really well written. My next one is a book called Dark Matter by Michelle Paver, which is I don't really want to spoil too much of it, but it's this guy who decides to just drop everything because he gets the chance to go on an Arctic
Is it
expedition.
a TV show? Is that made into a TV show?
I don't know, because dark matter is a relatively common phrase. It might be something else, but yeah, this is based in the past. And this guy gets the opportunity to go on this expedition, and they get to this really remote place, and it all goes horribly pear-shaped from there. It's quite freaky. So that freaked me out. The last one is a trilogy of books by, I don't know if you've heard of it. He's called Stephen King. He's quite big in books, apparently. Ian? No?
No. Does he sell carpets? No. I don't know why Stephen King sells carpets. Sorry, yes, I've heard of Stephen King.
Yeah,
because they'd be quite thick, I suppose.
Yeah.
So some of his more recent books, I think they've sort of bracket them together as the Bill Hodges trilogy.
Oh God, yes, with
the first one is Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah.
Finders Keepers, and the last one's called End of Watch. So it starts out as a detective series, if you like, and as the books progress, it gets, because it's Stephen King, it gets more and more freaky as you go along, and they are bloody brilliant.
I've not read any Stephen King for a long time. What are they called again?
So the first one's called Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah.
Then Finders Keepers, and the last one is called End of Watch.
Is that a new trilogy then?
Well, they've been around for a while. I think they turned Mr. Mercedes into a TV show on one of the American networks.
Okay.
But they're brilliant. I love them. And as usual with Stephen King, he does like to drop in little references to other stories of his as well. But I love, they're not perhaps highbrow, but I love them. They're so entertaining.
Cool.
I think they were all published within the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Lovely. Awesome. Well, thank you for the recommend. Thank you very much for joining me. It's class. I'm just really enjoying talking to all different people in these lockdowns, and it's like we know each other, a bit, but it's nice. I think this lockdown sort of you find out a lot more about people and all that. It's just it's cool, man. This is my favourite Friday nights. Just doing these. They're cool. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to play a song. I didn't know what I was going to pick. I didn't have a decision, but now I definitely do. It's a very anti-fucking Tory song. It's by Will Varley, and it's called We Don't Believe You. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.